What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich, and I'm Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is post-apocalypse of holidays. You survive holidays, right? Or at least the apocalypse of that. What now? You have all those resolutions for the new year. Let's see if there are any tools that can bring you closer to creating more joy and fun in the new year. It's more about having ease in the new year. But we all made those resolutions. We kind of there was a lot of fear, and we talked about it in the last few shows. There is fear, there is excitement, there is joy of seeing the family or not seeing the family, especially now with COVID and with a lot of social isolation in certain countries. Luckily, not everywhere. Noticed that my daughter was just now in Tulum in Mexico, and she says, it was so much fun. You kind of forget that there is that social isolation, there is separation of people. So the holidays there were different. So each country, each person celebrates holidays different. And some countries still continue to celebrate. In Russia, there is going to be another Christmas and another New Year celebration on January 7th and January 13th, if I'm not mistaken, because there is two calendars and I'm not going to go into that. So happy holidays for people who celebrate that still. But to a lot of people, that was apocalypse because we had to endure certain people that we might not like. Luckily, I didn't have that, but I know a few people had, especially years before. But don't forget, magic is everywhere, so you can tap into that. And you can kind of look at the holidays as apocalypse, or you can look at that as celebration of you. What if you start celebrating you? And all those resolutions you made, all those wishes you made for the new year, what if all of that is something that you can create now with total ease? And what if you don't have to do all of that? So what if you just choose? And I was reading some reference material from Access Consciousness, and some of the things that caught my kind of eye was that when we pushing through something, it's not always gets created. But if we don't put significance, if we don't try to control it, it's actually much easier because we function in contextual reality. So everything has to have context. Everything has to have reason and justification, and everything has to kind of have a judgment attached to that, like good, bad, right, wrong, white, black, all of that. And everything has to have a purpose and significance, and it has to create something that we've decided is very important for the world. But what if it's something that we decided is actually what stops us from creating more? What if you choose, instead of choosing the significance, and importance and something that will serve other people. What if we chose us first? What if we look at what's in front of us and start choosing what is required in the moment? And it might be nonsensical. It might be as simple as just sit, like I'm sitting right now and looking outside. It's so beautiful out. There is snow, there is that glowing of the first snow. It's actually probably second. It is the first snow because it never melted. So all of that actually creates a better mood for me. It allows me to tap into the universe and create something in my life different. Because we can create from pushing and force and making ourselves to commit to something. You know what the meaning of commitment? It's actually committing to jail, to insane asylum, all of those things. So what if you don't have to commit to anything except you? What if you chose everything? How much more fun life would be if you just follow your intuition, follow your knowing, follow what would be fun for you. How much have you actually decided that if it's fun for you, then there is something wrong with that? Because it has to be important for other people. You have to do something that is more about helping other and choosing something, and somehow I have like a weird sounds coming from my computer which I cannot even stop. It's so weird when nothing is. What if nothing is important? And it's about choosing to create more. What if you don't have to create anything? What if you just be? And by being, you start create more in your life. Something, look at your life. When did you have fun? When you try to fit into somebody else's reality, when you try to cut off yourself and making sure that they are good, they are okay, that they're happy? Or did it create more in your life and others when you actually chose to be happy, when you chose for you? It doesn't mean choosing against somebody else, by the way. It's not about kind of like forcing yourself to go against somebody else. It's actually opposite. A lot of times when we choose for us, it creates more for everybody else around us. I remember when I was married and I was trying to fit into my husband's reality, into his family's reality, and it was contracting. I wasn't happy. And then he was trying to do the same thing. He wasn't happy, but he wouldn't tell me. He was going through kind of like passive aggressive. He would go along with what I asked him to do, and he would be miserable. But then he would make me miserable. Instead of telling me, it's like, honey, I don't want to go there. I'd like to do something else. And then I would do what I wanted and he would do what he wanted. But in relationship, a lot of times there is that law of you have to do together. That's not joy for a lot of people. What if you chose joy and chose to do what's fun for both of you? And then what's fun for each one of us separate and come together. I was reading in reference material that relationship is almost like an entity in itself that separates people. When we trying to make the relationship work, a lot of times it's a relationship against us, we against relationship, we against each other, trying to create a relationship. And how much of that is creating the apocalypse, especially during holidays when we come together with a family, with friends, and trying to make our relationship work. How much of that is actual work? Wow, what if it didn't have to work? What if we just played? We played with our relationship, we play with each other, and we create more joy with each other. How much different the world would be. How much we would allow ourselves to have fun. And how much less contracted we become. And I'd like to expand because I'm sensing a lot of contraction in people around the world, especially after the holidays. Even if the holidays were great, it's kind of like coming down of that high. Because I was looking at my daughter coming from Mexico, where she was very happy, very expanded. And suddenly there was that kind of like coming down realization. Okay, I'm home. What's next? What if we don't have to stop that celebration? What if we can continue celebrating ourselves, our being, our knowing, our perceiving, our receiving, and just be with that? How much more fun would that be? And it is time for our first break of the show. You've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we'll continue to talk about post-apocalypse of holidays. We'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is post-apocalypse of holidays. Magic is everywhere. Abundance is everywhere. What if you can tap into abundance and start creating it in our lives with total ease? And you can join me in the classes. It used to be around the world in person, but now it's around the world online. Or you can schedule a private session and we can create abundance and ease in all areas of our lives. There is a class coming up, which is a foundation, which is going to be online and in person if you live in Chicago area. It's going to be starting on January 31st, and it's actually about creating your life from the magic. So we talk about resolutions of the new year, resolutions to start new life, but how much are we still holding on to the old stuff, to our points of view, to whatever hurt we've experienced? How much are you holding on to the mistakes you made, or you've decided you made the mistakes? Because there is no mistakes. And how much you are still holding on to the stuff and people in your life? What if you don't have to hold on to anything? When we do, like in foundation, we actually use the tools of access consciousness to clear those things, to clear the past, so we can create the future based on a choice. So let's look at last year. And to me, it was kind of apocalyptic year. There are a lot of movies that made science fiction where there was that pandemic, epidemic of some viruses and vaccines where a lot of people died and it was the end of the world. But is it actually the end of the world now? And some people might say yes. But to me, it's a new beginning. When we look at everything that was last year, we can see Earth is actually thriving. The pollution is improving. There are blue skies over China and India. People can breathe easier. You can look at the air quality and it's much better around the world. Animals are thriving. Dolphins were flowing into the canals of Venice. So it's not all bad. And how much our points of view create our reality? It's about actually looking at our points of view and letting them go and saying, wow, our world is different. It is changed. I don't think it ever will be the same. And what if it's not wrong? What if it's something that creates more consciousness, creates more love, creates more gratitude? Because everything, all those things are spaces of being. I'm talking about love, gratitude, peace, calm. All of those things are part of a space of consciousness, space of being, where we can thrive. And the universe kind of like said, okay, time to slow down. Let's throw the virus and see how many people will choose to thrive. And some people choosing to die. What if it's not a wrongness? And what if it is a choice? And people say, Nobody chooses to die. Actually, everybody who dies chooses to die. It's not a conscious choice. A lot of times it's unconscious choice. It's that space where people say, I don't want to live like that. And some people's lives are miserable and they choose to go and come back in a different body. What if they choose more for themselves by letting go of their life? It's hard for relatives, especially if they're loved. And yet, for a lot of people, it's freedom. Because a lot of people who died lived in suffering. They had other problems like heart disease, cancer. Um, they were living in pain. So for them, it was freedom. So, how much was that their choice to create that freedom? So, is it actually apocalypse? Maybe. It is the end of the world as we know it, but yet it's the beginning of the new world. It's a beginning where we can choose, be more conscious, more aware, and choose for us. It's more about what can we create in this lifetime, in this body. And if we cannot create ease, joy, fun, and um, abundance, what if it's not the wrongness to go and get another body, another life? What if it's everything is just a choice? How much more of those resolutions for the new year for a lot of people is to have more fun and joy? I know for me, traveling was fun because I was facilitating classes around the world. And that was amazing. And now, not being able to travel as much or not choosing it, it created space of reflection on my life, reflection of what am I choosing now that the traveling might not be open for a while. Well, there is always online. And how many more people can I actually touch by being so global? Because I did a free Zoom before the new year, and quite a few people showed up, and there were people from all over the world creating something different with that Zoom, creating the energy of joy and being. We had people from South America, North America, Europe, Middle East, Asia, from everywhere. I think Australia, I mean, literally everywhere. And we all came together to shift and change what we can. So, what if we choose more for ourselves by being more global? And by the way, the foundation will be global, um, not global as far as terms concerned, but it will be online so people can take from anywhere. And if you require translation, there will be a translation. And there is also another class, intensity of being. How much are we refusing the intensity of ourselves? We hide ourselves. We shy away from what actually makes us happy. I know for me, years ago, I had an idea, how can I be happy when everybody else is not? How can I be happy when my family is not? So I would make myself miserable and suffering. Was it creating more for them? No. Was it creating more for me? No. Opposite is true. um, it's actually created less for all of them. Now that I'm choosing more, actually, my family is starting to choose a little bit more. It was so funny right now. I was watching, I have a cat, and she decided to jump into the glass cabinet because I think she saw a toy there. It's not a toy, but for her it was a toy. But she didn't see the glass. So she kind of like hit it and jumped off. How often do we actually create glass doors, glass ceilings, glass, whatever it is, that not allowing us to move beyond certain level of comfort, certain level of abundance, certain level of money. And that actually is what prevents us from that joy and ease in our lives. Not somebody else, us. We either buy those points of view that create that glass ceiling, or we create those points of view. How often you're unconsciously blocking your money, blocking your health, so that not to stick out, not to be better than other people. What if that is actually creating less for them? I'm going to use a clearing statement right now because there's so much energy that got stuck right now. And the clearing statement, if you never heard it, it's a vibrational frequency that Access Consciousness uses. And you can find out more on the website, theclearingstatement.com. So everything that just came up was everything I was talking about: the glass ceiling, not enough money, not enough health, not enough love. Will you now destroy and uncreate all of that? And I hope you said yes. Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pack and pat, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And this is time for our second break of the show. You've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time. This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is post-apocalypse of holidays. And you've been listening to me maybe for the first time, or you're just tuning in, or you've been listening for a while, I'm a medical doctor. I'm teacher of Akashic Records as well as founder of Akashic School of Creation. I'm Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator and 3-day body facilitator. So I have a lot of titles. I'm also published author and radio show host, as you can see, podcaster. I also been a Reiki Master. I've done a lot of different modalities, which helped me to come to this point in my life and facilitating classes in person or around the world, doing private sessions. And during all of that, I found out that it's about who I am and what I am that creates difference in me, in other people. It's not what I do, though that's important. Um, this is about when we are vibrating at certain energy, when we are expanded, it actually shifts energy around us. When you think about it, when you're in the presence of somebody who is happy, how do you feel? You get happier. If you're in the presence of somebody who is depressed, how do you feel? And here you have a choice. You can go down with that person and feel depressed and angry or whatever they are feeling, or you can still stay expanded. And let's do it now. Let's drop our barriers and let's expand. And this is a tool that I love. This is a tool of the week, I guess. Um, let's expand. And then we'll talk about how to use it throughout your life, not just this week. But let's expand. Um, just see what's going on with your body first. And you don't have to do it slowly, but in the beginning, I just like to explain the details. So either sit down, lay down, or stand up, or do whatever you're doing. Just feel your body. If you're sitting, feel your butt on the chair, your feet on the floor, kind of like your hands, your arms, your legs, your body, your head. And just take a deep breath. Open your crown and pull the energy of the universe into your body and allow it to connect to earth through your feet. Just let it out and pull the energy of earth through your body, through your feet, and let it exit through your head. Bring your attention into your heart. And from that space, start pulling energy from top and bottom and expand it, kind of like a sphere. And expand it more throughout your body, throughout that room that you're sitting in, and allow it to move throughout the house you're in, throughout the neighborhood, and expand maybe a mile or a kilometer, depending on where you are, what measure you're using, and expand it even more. 10 miles, 10 kilometers, 1,000 miles, 1,000 kilometers, and make yourself as big as Earth. And now connect to our planet like you would connect to a person. Hug it like you would hug a person. And create that connection of love, gratitude, because this planet's been for us for trillions of years, millions of years, or how long it's been here. And just allow it to contribute to you. And now expand even more. Go throughout the whole galaxy, universe, and keep expanding as a sphere without forgetting your body. Still be connected to your body, but your body is now inside of you. And keep expanding, keep expanding, keep expanding, keep expanding even more. keep expanding, keep expanding. And now from that space, allow yourself to see the people in your life. And if they're feeling good, that's fine. Add more energy to that. But if they're depressed, if they're upset, because a lot of people are upset right now with everything that's going on in the world, allow that to kind of like not affect you. In truth, does it actually affect you when you're that expanded? It doesn't affect me. What if you don't have to be effect of other people? What if you don't have to kind of like go down with them, go up with them, go down when you're judged? What if you can be that space all the time? Just allow yourself to create a different reality. So when you're that expanded, and a lot of times it's hard to be expanded that much, but you can be expanded a few miles. Just allow yourself to kind of like be what's comfortable for you. Is it the size of the planet? Is it the size of maybe a few meters or a few yards outside of you? It doesn't matter. Just allow yourself to be with that. I like that energy. How about you? So what if it doesn't have to be apocalypse? What if it doesn't have to be what you decided that it's going to be awful? And how many of you have decided that this year is going to be bad because it still continues in social isolation? What if you can use that to your advantage? What can you create using internet, using kind of like your abilities, despite the fact that we are sitting in social isolation? What if you can use magic? What if you are magic? And yes, you are magical. And what if you can create more money now than ever before? And I know a lot of people like think of last year as being apocalyptic year. And some people think that it's bad and it's awful. What if it doesn't have to be? What if it's about changing your point of view? And point of view is nothing more than just literally looking at something from a different perspective. You were looking straight at this. Now, what if you go to the right a little bit? Or to the left? Or what if you sit down and look at from the bottom up? Or what if you climb up on the stairs and look down at it? When you're expanded, you're actually looking down at something smaller. So when you were expanded, expand again. And just look at your problems. Everyday problems, not everyday problems. Are they as big or did they become smaller? I always remember there used to be Sears Tower, now it's Willis Tower in Chicago. It's what is it, 104 floors or 110 floors. And I think you go to the 104th floor to look at the world. I have somebody in the house and creating a lot of noise. I apologize for that. So when you are at 104th floor and you're looking down on the streets level, it's tiny. People, cars, even buildings become small. When you're flying on the airplane, everything becomes tiny and small. You barely can distinguish between people. It's just like a little ant crawling around in the on the bottom that you're looking at. So how much you can change your perspective, and how much do you need to change your perspective so you can start feeling happier and you can start creating the abundance in your life instead of choosing to be as miserable as some people in the world right now, or in pain. Even if you have some disease, something that you've created in the body, by the way, you've created the disease by using unconscious belief system. And if you realize that, realize how powerful you are to create that, now you can choose different. By looking from a different perspective, you can change your life and change your disease. You can change your body in any shape, form you can choose by changing the perspective, by changing your point of view, by choosing something different. It might require medical intervention. It might require some alternative. It might require prayer. It might require some tools, expansion. And you can always ask, what's required here for me to change that? And wow, time flies. And it's time for our third break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. When we return, we'll continue to talk more about the apocalypse, post-apocalypse of holidays, and all of that, and maybe talk a little bit more about the classes coming up. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is post-apocalypse of holidays. And we've talked a lot about changing your point of view, expanding, and creating a different reality, not based on the past, like the whole year last year with all the viruses and isolation, but creating something different now. And we also talked about that we don't have to buy other people's reality, and we don't have to fit into their reality. And one of the ways, it's another tool of the week, I guess you'll have two of them, is who does that belong to? Because a lot of things around right now, as I said, People are upset. People not working as well as it works for them. Certain things are closed. Like in Chicago area, majority of restaurants are closed. You can do takeout, but sit down restaurants, very few of them are open. And or you have to sit outside in a tent with heaters in pretty much freezing weather and snow. Pleasant? Probably not. I'm going to find out about that this Saturday because I was invited to a restaurant. Not sure which venue it's going to be, but how much of that we consider end of the world? All of that. And what if we don't? What if we reframe it and look at that as a totally different reality? Because actually, it's about being who you are, not what other people doing, not what other people being. It's about our own internal gauge, internal desires of what is fun for us. What if we actually start choosing based on fun instead of the kind of like greater good of all people? How much of actually being you is for greater of all people? There is an amazing book by Dr. Dane Hare, Being You Changing the World. And the idea is each one of us, if we choose happiness, if we choose joy, changes our reality, changes our perspective, changes everything in the world that creates greater. Because we talk a lot about pollution, which is much less now, but we also talk about Earth being destroyed by um, a lot of things, but we forget that the majority of destruction actually comes from our emotions. Earth is picking up our anger, our blame, shame, all that hate that's in the world right now. It also picks up our laughter, our happiness, our joy, our communion. So whichever side will is more, that's a balance that the earth is required. The idea is the more happy we are, the more happy earth is. Because it's trying to contribute to us. Consciousness tries to contribute to us. Universe tries to contribute to us. And what do we do? Oh, no, 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 no. I cannot be too happy when other people are not happy. Oh, I cannot have too much money. People are suffering. Can you change the world more with money or without money? Can you change the world more when you're happy or not? Yesterday, I kind of feel tired. I kind of like chose to feel tired. And I did some things, but I wasn't as productive as I could have been. I didn't go into judgment, but I allowed myself to rest. And that created more today. So, what if you choosing something that's not productive is actually have impact on the future? What if you're resting and doing things for you actually will create more in the future? And everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pakpat, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And we talked about the clearing statement and all of that. So let's choose more for us. This is about being who we are, being more available for happiness. I'm actually doing a class one day, Being You Adventure, on 23rd, that is going to be focusing specifically on being us, being happy, being joyful, having more abundance, and being more magical. It's going to be online, strictly online, so you can tap into the class from anywhere in the world. At this moment, it's being translated into Spanish, but if you require translation into different language, that always can be arranged. Because we have translators pretty much in every language right now. And I know quite a few translators that's available on that day. So just choose more for you, choose more abundance, more happiness, more joy. And it's actually a choice. And it's not about forcing it. It's not about that. It's about looking at what is. If you're miserable in that moment, don't force being happy. Just allow yourself that energy to pass, kind of like expand and allow it to be until it goes, and ask, who does it belong to? Because a lot of times it's not even yours. But if it's yours, just ask what's required here. Kind of like be with that without force and melt it. What if we can melt anything in our lives that's not to our benefit, that's not creating more? Allow yourself to be present with whoever and whatever you're choosing. And there are a lot of classes going on right now in Access Consciousness. I'm also facilitating classes at Access Consciousness and Akashic Records. I'm going to be doing a class, basic class in Akashic Records in February. You can find out more about it on my website, creatingabundancewithease.com. You can also look me up on Facebook, on Instagram, I think Twitter, but I'm not that active on Twitter, but on LinkedIn. And choose more for you. Choose more of creation instead of distraction, because a lot of times when you are contracting, you are in the mood of distraction. You are in kind of like destroying your body. And that's what's killing your body. When you're contracted, your body needs to expand as much as your being. This is about choosing more. You don't have to live in post-apocalypse. You don't have to live in an environment that's not creating for you. You're magical. You can choose whatever you choose. And next week, I'll be back. Our show is coming to the end pretty much right now. We have just about a minute left. Next week, I will do a show in Russian. Not sure about the topic yet, but if you're speaking Russian, you can tap in. If you don't speak Russian, you still can tap in, because majority of things that I'm talking about is more energetic than verbal. So even if you don't understand the language, still tap in, still listen to it. It might be fun. Also, I'll remind you about Foundation that starts January 31st, One Day Being You Adventure on January 23rd. There is a body class, which is going to be live in February. And just connect with me. Friend me on Facebook, friend me on Instagram. And have
Thank you for choosing to listen
year.
to Creating Abundance
Bye-bye.
with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.